Good afternoon, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to C Results on IBN TV, as well as the IBN TV Facebook page and the C Results Facebook page. I am Sir Ijaz, and today is Monday, so you know that means we're going to be doing mathematics in the first hour, which will be followed by English language arts with Miss Naila in the second hour, right? So last week we started doing some questions on decimals, fractions, and percentages, topics that we already looked at in the lower difficulty levels, right? So we were doing some more complicated questions now, the sort of questions that come in the second section of the paper. And these questions, you know, they can be quite involved sometimes. And of course, when we are doing them here on the program, we want to be able to give as many different approaches to answering the questions as possible. And we take our time and we go through the questions thoroughly with our call-in students. So we do have a number of questions that we still have to complete in decimals, fractions, and percentages. And you know, we're going to take our time with that. We want to make sure that everybody is on board, everybody understands. All right. Already we've posted quizzes on the weekend. On Saturday, we posted quizzes on our brand new Edmodo page for English language arts, mathematics, and creative writing. And this is the brand new code, as you see there displayed, J55AHA, but those should be in all common, all right? I'm actually not sure if it's case sensitive, but the code is J55AHA, and you can use that code to access our new class. You just have to click join a new class under the classes tab if you are already an Edmodo user, like let's say you were with us in our previous class. And otherwise, you will create a new account and join as a student and enter J55AHA. Again, I believe that should be in all commons, but I'll double check. At any rate, I'm telling you that that is the code. That combination there is the code, and you will join us. And you have until Friday at 11:59 p.m. to complete those assignments, and those assignments are all based on the work that we did last week. And again, we've been doing, in the mathematics segment, we've been doing decimals, fractions, and percentages, and we're going to continue with that today. See how far we can get. Perhaps we may finish with that for now, or if not, you know, we'll continue on Thursday, but by the end of this week, for sure, we'll be past the decimal, fractions, and percentages, at least the section 2 type questions, and we'll be moving on to some new stuff. A lot of the content that we have to cover still falls under the strand of number, which is the strand that has the most number of questions. So, of course, we're going to try to get through as much as possible. And our plan for you in this, you know, home stretch, as we're calling it, before the SAA exam, is to do past papers, maybe not past papers, but practice papers from start to finish with the help of our callers. So we're going to try to get into it as soon as possible today. Just a reminder, we're in the section 2 type questions from the number strand, specifically decimals, fractions, and percentages we are looking at. Remember, these questions are normally worth 2 to 3 marks in the second section. And decimals, fractions, and percentages entails a lot of different types of questions. You know, they can be put to you in many different ways, different formats. And we have to apply our critical thinking skills to get the solution to these problems. So we're going to put those studio lines for you up on our screen right now, and you can feel free to give us a call and to help us out with all of the questions that we have today. We welcome your help. It helps us to teach, you know, all of our viewers, because we get the students' perspective. And of course, a lot of us share the same misconceptions when we are students. There are many common misconceptions that are held, and you know, several times on the show they have popped up, and we were able to address them, and hopefully that was to the benefit of everyone who shared, you know, similar misconceptions in all the different topics, right? So that's why we find it to be a very useful tool when you call in. You know, even if you get it right off the bat, that's great as well. But it's fine to make mistakes, because we all learn and we all benefit from it. So in this particular question, Sydney went shopping and spent 60% of her money on a pair of shoes. She paid $375 for the shoes. How much money did she have before going to shop? Good afternoon, caller. Welcome to C Results on IBN TV.
Please.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. And who am I speaking with?
This is Nicholas.
Hey, welcome, Nicholas, our first caller for today. What are your thoughts on this question, Nicholas?
My thoughts about the problem, right? So they say, right, she spent 60% of her money on the shoe, right? So that 60% equals $375, right?
Yes.
So, hello?
Yes, Nicholas, I'm listening to you.
Yeah. So when when she have the 60%, right? We
Yeah.
need to reciprocate it, and so that will be 5/3 multiplied by 375, and you can just give me a minute to work it out.
All right, no problem.
My answer is $625.
$625?
Yeah.
All right, that is absolutely correct, Nicholas. Thank you so much for your help.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right. So Nicholas said that 60%, which is the percentage of her money that was spent on a pair of shoes, is the same as 3/5. All right, and that's absolutely accurate. As you can see, 60% can be reduced to 3/5. We can say 20 into 63, and 20 into 100 is going to give us 5. So 60 over 100 is equal to $375, and therefore, if we find the reciprocal of that, 5/3, we will be able to get the 100%, or the total amount of money that Sydney had before she spent it on the pair of shoes. All right, so I'm going to leave you all to work this out actually, and the answer is 625. All right, so we're going to be able to multiply the numerators and divide by the denominator, and we should be able to get that answer. Actually, we might even be able to just cross cancel here. 3 into 3, 1. 3 into 37 is 12, and we have a remainder there of 1, 5. So we have 125 multiplied by 5, and that is going to give us 625, as Nicholas rightly stated just moments ago. All right, so 625 is the answer for this question. There are some alternate things that we could have done to answer this question. You could have said that, okay, 60% is equal to $375. Okay, we could have said that 60% is equal to $375, and then we could have divided 375 by 6, which would have given us the value or the amount of money that is equal to 10%. All right, so we divide 375 by 6 in order to get that 10% value, and then we can multiply that by 10 to get 100%. And if you had in fact divided 375 by 6, you would have gotten $62.50, and you could have multiplied that again by 10 to get the 100, which would have also taken you to 625. So that there's perhaps another method that you can try out. Okay, maybe if you don't favor this reciprocal method, but this is actually a very nifty one, a very direct route to the solution, right? So I would recommend this, as Nicholas has just done, but you can also test the other strategy. Now, we won't necessarily do it for every question today, because we want to get through as many of these questions as we possibly can, so that we can start taking you through these papers from start to finish. Of course, we are expected to hear this week when the date for the SCA exam will be, so we want to get you all as ready as possible. So thank you so much for that, Nicholas. We're going to look at another question now. A teacher has 2 circular cakes as shown below. 1 3/8 of the cakes was shared with the class and 1/4 with other teachers. Share the fraction of cake that remained, right? So we have 2 cakes, and this is how it was shared. We have to share the fraction that remained. So I do have a caller. Good afternoon, caller. Welcome to See Results on IBN TV. Hi, good afternoon, caller.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and who am I speaking with?
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon, caller. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Okay, welcome to See Results, and what's your name?
Yes.
Okay, welcome to the program. So what are your thoughts with this question here? Would you like me to read it for you?
To share the fraction of cake that remained.
Yes. Do you have any thoughts? All right, so I'll just read it again. A teacher has 2 circular cakes as shown below. 1 3/8 of the cakes was shared with the class, meaning the students, and 1/4 with other teachers. Share the fraction of cake that remained. So what do you think we have to do here, caller?
You have to add 1 3/8 plus a quarter.
All right.
Wait, no. You have to subtract 1 3/8, subtract 1 3/8, subtract a quarter, 1/4.
All right, no, you actually had it right in the first instance. So the teachers, they got the students got 1 3/8, or the class got 1 3/8, and the teachers got a further quarter, right? So you are right. So if you add those 2 fractions together, you will get the fraction of the both cakes that were shared between this class and the teachers, right? So if you added 1 3/8 to a quarter, what would that give us?
Repeat?
If you add 1 3/8 to a quarter, what would that give you? You can take a moment to work it out. 1 3/8, we are adding it to a quarter. Right? Always have your pen, your pencil ready when you call into the program. Are you working on it? Caller?
Hi.
All right. Hello, good day. So
Hi.
currently we are trying to calculate 1 3/8 plus 1/4.
Can you hold on, please?
Sure. Okay, so again, for the benefit of the viewers, we have 2 cakes here, 2 identical cakes, circular cakes, and 1 3/8 of those cakes was shared with the class and a quarter with other teachers. We have to share the fraction of cake that remained. Okay.
I'm adding it right now.
All right.
I got 1 5/8.
Excellent. So 1 5/8 of the cake was consumed by the class and the teachers. Good?
Yes.
Right. So how would we shade the fraction of the cake that remains? So we have 2 cakes here, and all but 3/8 of one of the cakes was consumed. Right? So how would we represent that here in these diagrams?
I was shared 1 cake.
Okay.
One whole cake.
Now remember, we're shading not what was eaten, right? We want to shade what remains. Do you understand the difference there?
Yes.
Okay, so we can divide these two cakes into what fraction?
8.
Excellent. We divide them into 8s. So we can quarter it first. All right. And then cut those quarters into halves. And we'll have 2 cakes cut into 8s. And what fraction do we have to shade now?
5/8.
Well, 1 5/8 was consumed, right? That's
Yes.
so what would be left?
3/8.
3/8. Excellent. So therefore, we have to shade how many slices of cake?
3 slices.
Right, 3. So we could pick any 3 from either of the cakes. And that would represent the fraction of cake that remained. Good?
Yeah.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much for your help.
You're welcome.
All right, marvelous. So for the caller that was, on the line with us before, all right, when you call us, always ensure that you have your pencil or your pen and your paper ready. We are actually here, to put you on the spot, put you in that hot seat and see how well we can work under pressure, but not so much pressure, because if you don't if you're not sure what to do, we will be here to assist you, right? That's one way that you can learn, is to try to apply what you know, and if you go wrong, we'll try to guide you aright. So let's recap this question here briefly, a very nice question. So a teacher has 2 circular cakes as shown below. This was, just 2 circles before we did anything to it. And 1 3/8 of the cakes was shared with the class, and 1/4 with other teachers. Shade the fraction of the cake that remained. So our first caller, who helped us out there in the beginning, said that he was going to add 1 3/8 to 1/4 to see how much of the 2 cakes was shared. Okay, so that was fair enough. And we converted that 1 3/8 into an improper fraction. Again, you can visit our YouTube channel, see results for videos on how to do these things. And we add that, the 11/8 to 1/4. Now, we can't just add them directly because they have different denominators. So we have to make an equivalent fraction for one or both of them based on the LCM of the denominators. All right? So the LCM of 8 and 4 is 8. So therefore, we only really need to make an equivalent fraction for one of them, which is 1/4 in this case. So we know that we need to multiply 4 by 2 in order to get that 8. And whatever we do on the denominator, we also have to do it on the numerator. So we said 4 multiplied by 2, which gives us 8, and 1 multiplied by 2 gave us 2. Now we can add the numerators because we have the same denominator. We're going to get 13 over 8. And that can be converted back into a mixed number by saying 8 into 13, which is 1, and we have a remainder of 5. Put that over 8. So 1 5/8 of the 2 cakes was shared amongst the class and the teachers. All right, so now we have to shade. We are required to shade the fraction of the cake that remains. So, well, we already know 1 complete cake was eaten. All right, so we can disregard one of those cakes. And how much was eaten of the second cake? All right, 3/8 plus 1/4, which is 5/8, as we saw there in the working on the next page. So if 5/8 of the second cake was consumed, that leaves us with 3/8 to make up the whole of the second cake. Therefore, we have to shade 3 slices of cake too, and that is the fraction that remains. So, it's not a very difficult question, but it's a nice way to see fractions at work, right, in a real life sort of scenario. So that is that question. Now we have a different question here, and this one combines fractions and percentages. Jonathan withdrew 1/5 of his savings from the bank he used 80% of the money to purchase a tablet. The tablet costs $2,600. How much savings did he have in the bank? So this one could be a little bit tricky. Let's see what our caller has to say. Good afternoon, caller. Welcome to See Results on IBN TV. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon, caller. You're live on IBN TV.
My name is Takia.
Welcome to the program. So, did you have an
my
opportunity
name is
to read the
Takia.
question?
Welcome to the program.
Okay, so you need to listen to us on the telephone and mute the television, okay? That way we'll hear each other well.
You'll be telling me that, okay?
Yes. Yes. So since he withdrew 1/5,
Yes.
he used 80% of the money to purchase a tablet, which was $2,600.
Okay.
We could find the total amount
Yes, we need to
by
find out.
dividing
Mm-hmm.
2,600 divided by 4/5, which is 80%.
All right. So here's the thing with this question, right? It is worded a little to throw you off a little bit. So Jonathan withdrew 1/5 of his savings from the bank. Good? Now he used 80% of the money to purchase a tablet. He didn't use 80% of all of his money. He used 80% of what he withdrew. So how much did he withdraw?
He withdrew 1/5.
Right. So in other words, he used 80% of 1/5 to purchase the tablet. Good?
Yeah.
So let's try to figure out what fraction is that of the money? 80% of 1/5. How would we do that?
4/5.
Okay, so 80% by itself is 4/5. I do agree with
Yeah.
that. But we want to get 4/5 of 1/5. And that is how much money he spent on the tablet. Okay?
Yeah.
Because he withdrew 1/5 and he used 80% of the money, meaning the 1/5, to purchase a tablet. So what is 4/5 of 1/5? How do you know how to multiply that?
So you could say 4 by 1,
Yeah.
which is 4, and then 5 by 5, which is 25.
All right. Excellent. So 4/5 is equal to how much money?
4/26.
2,600, right? And we
Yeah.
would like to know how much is the total amount of money or savings that he had in the bank. So what do we do from here?
Divide
Okay. So you're saying what divided by what?
$2,600 divided by 4/26.
Okay. And what do we do when we divide fractions?
You find the reciprocal,
All right. And what is the reciprocal of 4/5?
25 quarters,
Sorry, 4/25.
multiplied by 2,600.
So you get 2,600 over 1 multiplied by 25 over 4. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'll give you an opportunity to work that out. You getting through? Yes.
16,250.
Excellent. $16,250.
250.
Well done. Thank you so much for your call. Now, before you go, you understand why we used 4/25 and not 4/5, right? Yes, caller? All right, so we're going to let the caller go there, but again, for all of you paying attention out there, I think that she did get it there in the end. Well, actually at the beginning. So Jonathan withdrew 1/5 of his savings from the bank. Good. And he used 80% of the money to purchase a tablet. Okay? So if we just said that, Jonathan has some savings in the bank and he used 80% of the money to purchase a tablet, then the tablet costs $2,600. We can say, okay, therefore the tablet, $2,600 worth, is equal to 4/5 of his savings. But that is not what the question is saying. All right? Now, I can see why somebody might make that mistake, but we have to pay attention when we are interpreting our question. So he withdrew 1/5. We get that. And he used 80% of that money, or the money, to purchase a tablet. 80% is the same as 80 over 100, and this can be reduced to 4/5. Good? Or 4/5. So he used 4/5 or 80% of the money that he withdrew, which is 1/5. So we have to multiply 4/5 by 1/5 to get, or 4/5 by 1/5 to get the fraction of his money that he spent on the tablet. Good, or the fraction of his savings. So as our caller rightly said, we multiply the numerators and we get 4. We multiply the denominators and we get 25. So $2,600 is equivalent to 4/25, or 4/25 of the savings that Jonathan had in the bank. So in order to get the full amount, we're going to do the same thing that Nicholas did essentially, which is to multiply by the reciprocal, right? And the reason we are multiplying by the reciprocal is because we are dividing 2,600 by 4/25. And when we are dividing by a fraction, as we learned last week, we have to change the division sign into a multiplication sign and flip or invert the divisor, right? So we put the numerator, we put what was the denominator now as the numerator, and what was the numerator as our denominator, and we'll get 25/4. We multiply that by 2,600, which is the value of the tablet, and we're going to get the total amount of savings that Jonathan had in the bank. Good. Alternately, again, we know now that $2,600 is equal to 4/5. We could have divided 2,600 by 4 to get 1/25, and then multiply that answer by 25, which in essence is what we are doing here when we are multiplying by the reciprocal. Good, but it's just a way to do it. I guess a longer way to do it, but this is a more direct method, a more direct approach to the question, and this is the actual answer, right? So we saw here how we combined our knowledge of fractions, fraction multiplication, the relationship between percentages and fractions. All of that is coming together, is coalescing into this question, as well as our critical thinking skills to get this 4/25, right? In order to get this, and getting this 4/25, you're actually, pretty much halfway there to the solution of this problem. So we are now at the midway point of today's mathematics class. We're going to take a short break for about 2 minutes, and we'll rejoin you with some more mathematics after the break. Don't go anywhere. I'll see you soon.
In order to maneuver through the COVID-19 pandemic, Trinidad and Tobago as a nation needs to work together in solidarity to support one another. The frontline workers and essential service workers are putting their lives at risk every day in order to ensure that those that are affected have the care that they need, that the virus is contained, and that we are able to access necessities during the quarantine period. As a business built on core family values for the past 95 years, we are honored to provide aid to our brave frontline medical staff who are going above and beyond in these uncertain times. We urge you to do your part as well in whatever way that you can in order to flatten the curve and support one another.
Good afternoon, assalamu alaikum, and welcome back to See Results on IBN TV, as well as the IBN TV Facebook page and the See Results Facebook page. All right, I am Sir Ijaz, and this afternoon we are continuing with our examination of decimals, fractions, and percentages, those types of questions that tend to come in the second section of the SEA paper. All right, so some of them have been a bit tricky, but of course, that's what this is all about, all right? You know, honing in on those critical thinking skills within the student and being able to apply the theory and the knowledge that they would have gained all through their life in primary school. So we're going to continue with another question here. And of course, our studio lines are available and open to you. And do remember when you call us that you have to mute the volume on your television and listen to us on the phone. All right, that way our interaction is much smoother and we will be able to have a proper conversation. And of course, you can view these videos on Facebook and, 1 or 2 days later on YouTube, and you can hear yourself or your child answering the question. I know that's what you are very thrilled about, so it's going to be there for you to rewatch afterwards, okay? And of course, do have your pen and your paper with you because, we are working out the questions when you call us. And we do expect you, as is our custom, to give your input, all right? So here is another question, and again, we're seeing the use of fractions and percentages. 4/5 of the children in a class get to school by bus. 50% of the remaining students get to school by walking. The 4 remaining students ride their bikes to school. How many students are in the class? All right, so this is a nice question here, and I am very much interested to hear what your take on it is. All right, so 4/5 of the children get to school by bus, 50% of the remaining students get to school by walking, 4 remaining ride their bikes. How many students are in the class? Good afternoon, caller. Welcome to See Results on IBN TV.
Please hang up now.
All right, so we seem to have lost that call. And I have another. Good afternoon, caller. Welcome to See Results on IBN TV.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. And who am I speaking with?
Alyssa.
Welcome, Alyssa. So what are your thoughts for this question here? Did you have an opportunity to read this question as yet?
Yes.
All right. So go ahead. Let's hear what you have to say.
Four-fifths of the children in a class get to school by bus. 50% of the remaining students get to school by walking. The 4 remaining students ride their bikes to school. How many students are in the class?
Yes.
So first, I would. Firstly, we work out the remaining of the students that went by bus, which is 4/5.
Okay, and what would be the remainder there?
5/5 subtract 4/5 equals 1/5.
Excellent.
And therefore, half of 1/5 equals 1/10.
And why are we multiplying half of 1/5?
We are multiplying half of 1/5, which is the remaining of the children who went by bus.
All right, so half of the remainder, or 50%, which is the same as a half, they get to
Yes.
school by walking, right?
Yes.
So that's what we are calculating here, and 50% is the same as 1/2. Good?
Yes.
Right, so far so good. So what fraction would that give me?
The answer is 1/10.
All right, so what do we know so far? We know that 4/5 of the students go to school by bus. And how many go to school by walking?
1/10 go to school by walking.
Right, great. So we have 4/5 and we have 1/10, right?
Yeah.
And together, what does 4/5 and 1/10 make?
Could you give me a second, please?
Of course.
The answer is 9/10.
All right, so we made 4/5 into 8/10, equivalent fraction, right?
Yeah.
Add that to 1/10 and we'll get 9/10. So 9/10 of our class go to school by bus or by walking.
Right.
Right. And what does the question say about the remaining students now? The 4 remaining students
Right.
ride
Four
their bikes
rem-
to school.
4 remaining students ride their bikes to school. How many students are in class?
Right. So what fraction represents those 4 remaining students?
1/10.
1/10. How come 1/10?
10/10 subtract 9/10 equals 1/10.
Excellent. So we know that 9/10 go by bus and walking, so therefore those that go by bike have to be 1/10, right? Or as you said,
Yeah.
10/10, take away 9/10, which is 1/10.
Right.
And 1/10 is equal to how many students?
4.
All right, so if 1/10 is 4 students, how many students would there be in the class?
So you find the whole. So you
Right.
find the reciprocal
Uh-huh.
of the fraction. So the whole, which is 1/10.
Yeah.
Hold on. Equals 4. Okay.
Yeah,
Then
so
a
1/10
quarter
equals 4. Mhm.
multiply by 10/1.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. Sorry. So it's you find the reciprocal of 1/10, which is 10/1 multiplied by 4/1 to give you 40. 40
Excellent.
students are in the class.
Excellent. So we have found the reciprocal of 1/10. We multiply that by 4, and we get 40 students in the class, right?
Yes.
All right. Well done, Alyssa. Thank you so much for your help.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. All right, so that was nicely done, guys. So again, with this particular question, we could have been caught, if we didn't pay attention, thinking, that 50%, okay, 1/2 of the students get to school by walking, but that would have been an error, all right? Just like we had to find, what was it? In the previous question, we had to find 4/5 of 1/5, all right? We also have some further calculations here to get to the fraction of students that are walking. So 4/5 of the entire class get to school by bus. 50% of what? Of the remaining students get to school by walking. All right, and again, we've done this before, those common percentages and the equivalents in fractions and in decimal form and so on, and I know you will have done it in school as well. But if you want a refresher, please visit our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CResults. Very easy to find, all right? Or you can just type C results into the search bar and you will get, lessons on all of these topics, the preliminary content that's leading up to these more complicated ones, and you can help strengthen your foundation in that. All right, so we know that 4/5 of the class get to school by bus. So what remains of the class? What remains of the class is 1 subtract 4/5, and 1 means 5/5 if we are dealing with fractions here with 5 as the denominator. So you can say 5/5, take away 4/5, gives us 1/5. So that is the remainder of the class that is not going by bus. And we know that 50% of that remainder go walking. So 50%, 50 over 100, which we should know is the same as 1/2 or 1/2 of that remainder get to class by walking. So we find 1/2 of the remainder, 1/2 of 1/5, it gives us 1/10. Multiply numerators, multiply denominators. So altogether, 9/10 of the school get to school by bus and by walking, right? Or 9/10 of the class, I should say rather, get to school by bus and by walking. And the information, from the information given in the question, the 4 remaining students in the class, meaning that these 4 remaining students make up the remainder of the class, right? The 4 remaining students, not just any 4 remaining students, but the 4 remaining students ride their bikes to school. So that means these 4 remaining students make up the remainder of the whole, that is the class. So if 9/10 represent those who go by bus and walking, right, what remains? 1, and again, we could convert this 1 into an equivalent fraction here with 10 as the denominator. We get 10/10, and that leaves us with 1/10. So therefore, those 4 students who go on their bike represent 1/10 of the class. And to find the whole of the class, we multiply that 4 by the reciprocal of 1/10, which is 10/1, and we get 40/1, or 40 students. All right, so, or in other words, if 1/10 of the class is 4 students, 10/10 of the class would be 4 multiplied by 10, if you want to think of it that way. All right, so that's the answer for that question. Very nice question, and very good job to our caller who just called. So let's look at another question here. This one deals with decimals, and it might be a bit easier, but we won't take it for granted. So let's take a caller. Good afternoon, caller. Welcome to See Results on IBN TV. Hi, caller. Good afternoon. Right, so find the sum of the largest and smallest decimal fractions from those given below. Good afternoon, caller. Okay, we lost that call. So let's look at these decimal fractions. We have 1.09, 0.39, 0.9, and 1.9. We want to find the sum of the largest and smallest decimal fractions from those given. So we first must determine which is largest, which is smallest, and then we have to use our basic rules of addition in order to add them and get to the solution for this problem. All right. So let's look at it. We know here we have to the left of our decimal point, we have our units or our ones, we have tenths, and we have hundredths. Okay, I'm going to let the caller who's on the line assist me from this point. Good afternoon, caller. Welcome to See Results on IBN TV. Good afternoon, caller. Good afternoon, caller. Welcome to See Results on IBN TV.
Afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. And who am I speaking with?
This is Jarrell.
Welcome to our program. So what are your thoughts for this question here, Jarrell?
So, since they say find the sum of the largest and smallest decimal fractions, you have to add. So the largest is 1.9,
Yeah.
and the largest is 1.9, and the smallest is 0.39.
Okay. And if I were to add those, what would I get?
You would get 2.29.
Excellent. So this one was a kind of easy one, but we do appreciate your help anyway. So thank you so much for calling and for giving us that solution, right?
You're welcome.
Okay, so that was Gerald, guys, and I will just break this down because there are still, some students who struggle with this type of question. So it might be good here to write all of our decimal fractions here to 2 decimal places, because we have some that are to 2 decimal places. That will make our comparison much easier. All right, so we're just going to add some zeros here to the end of those decimal fractions. And, okay, the largest. So we're looking at the whole number, or the units, as we said, which is to the left of our decimal point. And in 2 of those, we have 0. And in 2 of them, we have the number 1. Okay, so our contenders here for the largest are 1.09 and 1.90. Okay, so then as we proceed to the right after the decimal point, these units get smaller and smaller. So we have tenths, then we have hundredths, and, well, if we continued going, we would have thousands and so on, right? So we have to look at the tenths position now, or place value, and see which has the larger number in that place. So in this particular decimal fraction here, we have a 0, and here we have a 9. So that means that 1.90 is our largest. All right, and then we look at the 2 contenders here for the smallest decimal fraction, which are the numbers that begin with a 0, and we look for the tenths to see if they are the same. If they are the same, we will move on to the hundredths, but they are not the same, right? We have 3 tenths here, and we have 9 tenths, all right? So 3 tenths is clearly smaller than 9 tenths, so that would be our smaller decimal fraction of the 2, and the smallest from the 4. Therefore, we have to add 1.90 to 0.39, and we're going to get 2.29, all right? So that one was not terribly difficult, but you can, in your haste, get these things wrong if you don't analyze it properly, all right? So make sure and take your time and do that. So let's look at another question here now. So Nicholas got $400 for his birthday. He decided to spend half the money in the following week. He continued spending 1/2 of his remaining money from the previous week in the following weeks. How much money would Nicholas remain with after the 6th week of spending? Okay, so this here entails fractions, and it entails a bit of common sense as well. So let's take our caller. Good afternoon, caller. Welcome to She Results on IBN TV.
Hi,
Hi, good afternoon. And who am I speaking with?
Zafira Baksh.
Welcome, Zafira Baksh. Nice to have you with us. So what are your thoughts for this question, Zafira?
Well, first he got $400 for his birthday,
Yes.
and half of it is $200.
All right.
Can you hold on while I work it out?
Sure. So he got 400 one-week viewers for his birthday, and he decided to spend half of the money in the following week. All right?
Yes.
Good. So in that following week, he spent 1/2, and 1/2 of 400, as you said, is $200, right?
Yes.
And that is in our first week of spending, right?
Yes.
First week of spending. So the question says he continued spending 1/2 of his remaining money from the previous week in the following weeks. How much money would he remain with after the 6th week of spending? So if he spent half of his money in the first week, he spent half of 400, as you said, is 200. Good?
Yeah.
So if he spent 200 from 400, what would he be left with?
200.
Right. And that will keep happening. If you keep spending one half of your money, whatever you spend, you're going to be left with that same amount in your pocket. Not so? If you have 400, you spend 200, you end up with 200. And then in the next week, you'll be spending one half of how much?
One half of 200.
Right. And how much is that?
100.
100. And that is the second week. So if he spends 100 from 200, what will he be left with?
100.
Excellent. So whatever he spends, that's what he will remain with, right?
Yeah.
Because they are halves, so they are the same. So what is one half of 100 now?
50.
50. So after the third week of spending, he has $50. So you want to continue doing this with me, for me until you reach the 6th week?
Yes, please.
All right. I hope all of the viewers at home are trying to work this out along with us. Making progress there, Zafira?
Yeah, I'm on the last week. I'm working on the last week.
Great.
All right, I'm finished.
And what is your final answer?
How much you will have remaining?
Yeah.
Can you hold on, please?
Sure, no problem. All right, so we're giving Zafira a moment there to continue
Can you
working
have the
this
help,
out.
please?
Sorry?
Can I have the help, please?
Yes, no problem, Zafira, that is fine. So Nicholas got 400 for his birthday, good? And
Yeah.
he spends one half in the following week, and he continues spending one half of his remaining money in each of the following weeks, right?
Yeah.
And we want to know how much money he remains with after six weeks. So the important thing to understand here is that whatever he spends, that is what he will remain with, okay? Because he
Okay.
keeps spending one half. If I have 2 apples in my pocket and I give away one half, how much will I be giving away? One apple. And how much will I be left with?
1.
Right, so whatever I give, that's what I will remain with, right? So in the first week, he spends one half of 400, which is 200, right? So he gave
Yes.
away 200, or he spent 200, so he's left with 200. You agree?
Yes.
Right. So he's left with 200. He spends 1/2 again of 200. So he spends 100. How much will he be left with?
100.
Right. He spent 100, left with 100. Now he's spending half of 100. How much is that?
50.
So if you spend 50 from 100, how much will you be left with?
50.
Right. So now in the 4th week, he spends half of 50. So how much is half of 50?
25.
Right. So he spent 25 from 50, he'll be left with?
25.
Excellent. And then he spends 1/2 of 25 in the next week. How much is half of 25 now?
$17.50.
$12.50.
Sorry.
Right? No problem. So 25 by 1, 25, 1 by 2 is 2, right? So 25 on 2 is the same as 12.5, which is $12.50, right? But
Yes.
we're going to continue working in fractions till we get to the end. So he spent 12.5 from 25, so he will also be left with 12.5. Good?
Yes.
So now we have 12.5, which is 25 on 2. We find a half of that. 25 by 1 is how much?
25.
And 2 by 2 is how much?
4.
Excellent. So we're going to convert this now to a mixed number. How much times 4 could go into 25?
6 times.
Excellent. 6 times. 6 fours are 24, right? And
Yes.
he has a remainder of 1. So you'll get 6 and 1 over 4. Right? So in other words, in the 6th week, he had $12.50 and he spent $6.25. So he'll be left with $6.25. Good?
Yes.
All right. I know there's a little stumbling block at the end there, but I want you to look at it again when we finish this call until you understand these last 2 steps here, right? The
Okay.
introduction of the improper fraction makes it a little more tricky. Okay?
Okay.
So that is fine. But we understand that $0.25 is 25 cents. Good? Right. So at the end of the 6th week of spending, he will be left with $6.25. All right, Zafira?
Yes, sir.
All right. And thanks for getting so far with us. Don't worry. You know, this happens. And hopefully once you go, you'll be able to try it again until you can get this answer with some confidence, right?
Okay.
Okay. Take care and thank you for calling.
You're welcome.
All right, guys. So that's one of our diligent students there on our Edmodo page. So as you see, these questions, they get more involved, they get more intense as we move forward in the paper. So I am out of time for today, but we will be joined in a minute or 2 by Miss Nyla for English Language Arts. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back after these messages. Good evening. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, guys, and welcome back to See Results. I'm Miss Nyla, and you are joining me today for ELE. Welcome out to all our viewers, whether you're joining us at home, you are looking at us on television, or joining us on our live stream on Facebook via the See Results page or the IBN TV 8 page. Welcome, guys. I hope that you're having a great day. So today we're going to get started on another practice paper. Last week we were able to complete one paper successfully, and we are moving on to another practice paper. So this week, fingers crossed, guys, we are or may find out the exact date for the SE exam. So while we await that, let's continue with our work, right? Let us be prepared, get your mind in the correct frame, you know, get ready, however you wish to, however you want to, you know, whatever motivation you may need. But we are here to support you as best as we can, right? So let's go directly to our paper. So you know the format by now. You know the format for the paper, the English Language Arts paper, is such that in section 1 we have spelling first, then punctuation and capitalization, then we have grammar, and in section 2 we move on to comprehension, poetry, and graphic. Right? You have 75 minutes to do this paper, and you are to answer all questions. Please do not leave out any questions, attempt all. Right? As usual, we are going to read the passage together, then I'm going to open up the lines, and you have to identify the incorrect spelling word here and then give me the correct spelling. So we are starting with the spelling exercise. And for those of you, and I am sure actually all of you are familiar by now, but I'll just go over the rules here. There is one incorrect spelling word in each line. You have to identify the incorrect spelling and write the correct spelling of the word in the boxes provided. In this task, you are awarded 2 marks per question, right? So a total of 12 marks. So let's read, and then the lines will be open for you to call and share your answers with us. Usha stared at the paper in disbelief. With all her persistence, she had anticipated a much higher score. Instead, she had disappointingly made many careless mistakes. She promised herself to be more careful next time. Right, so the lines are open, guys. Some of you already know the numbers by heart. If not, the numbers are there to the bottom of your screen. Feel free to call us. When you call, just remember to lower the volume on your television set and to pay attention to me on the cell phone rather than TV, okay? And I already have a call on the line. Good evening and welcome to See Results. Hi, good evening, caller.
Hello.
Hi, welcome. You are live with us. Who am I speaking with?
My name is Jaden Richards.
Nice to have you with us, Jaden. So we are looking at line 1 there. Point out for me the incorrect spelling word and then give me the correct spelling.
The incorrect spelling is disbelief. It's supposed to be spelled disbelief, disbelief.
Okay, don't go as yes, so that is correct. But do you know what is the rule here that applies to the spelling word in particular?
I before E, but not after C.
Excellent. Great job. Thank you so much for your call.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So as we usually do, we are going to go over each rule after we have completed the entire passage. So let's take another call to help us with number 2. Good evening. Welcome to See Results. Hi, good evening, caller.
Hello.
Hi, welcome. Who am I speaking with?
Suren Singh.
Nice to have you with us. So can you help us with number 2?
Okay, so the error is persistent.
Okay.
And the spelling is T-E-R-S-I-S-T-E-N-C-E.
T-E-N-C-E. Excellent. Thank you so much for calling. Right, and of course, can you repeat that? Okay, I think I lost that call there. Right, so we're good so far. Let's move on to number 3. Good evening. Welcome to See Results.
Good afternoon.
Hi, welcome. Who am I speaking with?
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me, caller?
Anticipated.
Can you repeat that, please?
Okay. Anticipated.
Anticipated. Okay, but before you give me the correct spelling, who am I speaking with?
Andian.
Okay, great. So the incorrect spelling is anticipated. And how should anticipated be spelled?
A-N-T-I-C A-N-T-I-C-I-P-A-T-E.
Can you spell that over for me, please?
E-D. A-N-T-I-C-I-P-A-T-E-D.
Excellent job. Don't go as yet. I'm just wondering here, how did you know it's a C rather than S?
Hold on. What?
Did you hear my question?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'm just wondering, how did you know it's a C, A-N-T-I-C-I, rather than A-N-T-I-S-I?
I'm not sure, ma'am.
All right, okay, that's no problem. Once you get the correct spelling, that's all that matters, right? Okay, guys, so there was a lot of feedback on that call. Just a reminder, please lower the volume on your television set. And I will get back to this point shortly, okay? Let's take another call. Good evening. Welcome to See Results.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, welcome. Who am I speaking with?
Hello, good evening.
Hi, good evening. You are live on See Results. Who am I speaking with?
Kaylee Spencer.
Hi, Kaylee. So what is the error in number 4?
The error is disappointingly.
Right. And can you give me the correct spelling here?
D-I-S-A-P-P-O-I-N-T-I-N-G-L-S.
Okay, so you said D-I-S-S or D-I-S?
Huh?
Did you say D-I-S or D-I-S-S?
No, only one
One S, right? And 2 what?
P's.
2 P's. Excellent job, Kaylee. Thank you so much for calling. Great. Let's move on to number 5. Good evening. Welcome to See Results. Hi, good evening, caller.
Good evening.
Hi, welcome. Who am I speaking with?
Jaden.
Hi, Jaden. Welcome. So, number 5, what is the error here?
Mistakes.
Mistakes, right? So, what should be the correction here?
M-I-S-T-A-K-E-S.
Okay, great job. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right. And finally, to end off this task, let's take a call. Good evening. Welcome to See Results.
Hi.
Hi, good evening. Who am I speaking with? Are you there, caller? Good evening. Okay, we lost that call. Good evening. Welcome to See Results.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, good evening. Who am I speaking with?
This is Jonathan Sinanan.
Hi, Jonathan. So what is the error in line 6?
The error in line 6 is careful.
Careful, right? And how should careful be spelled?
C-A-R-E-F-U-L.
Okay, any particular reason why?
Nah,
Or
not
you just
really.
know? Okay, that's fine. Thank you so much, Jonathan.
You're welcome.
Okay, guys, so we're just going to take a pause on the calls and let's just go through these spelling errors and corrections. So in line 1, and I'm just going to point out all the errors identified and the correction is actually correct, right? So great job to all of our callers. So that means you should have at least 12 marks for this task. So in line 1, the error here was disbelief, right? Now we know the rule here, looking at EI and IE. So I comes before E except after C. And that's a popular rule that you should know. There are lots of words with IE or EI, and it's very easy to be confused, right? So ensure that you know that spelling rule. And of course, we did that earlier on when we just started the program and we were looking at, frequent errors and how errors are made in a spelling task. That was one of the rules that we came across. So ensure that, you go back to those lessons on our YouTube channel. It's very easy for you to find there and recap those if you are not sure. Moving on to line 2, persistence, right? Persistence with an E rather than an A simply because of pronunciation, right? So that might throw you off there, so you have to know the correct spelling of the word. So this is one of the words that you actually have to learn the spelling of. Anticipated. Now, this is another word here that, of course, you should just know how to spell. But if you came across this rule, so you are seeing ANTISI, right? So anticipated. So that's S sound there. It's easy for you to be confused with, right? We know it's a C rather than S, but how is it a C? Or why do we know that it's a C, right? So it's a C when a C comes before I, that second I there, right? When C comes before I, E, or Y, it gives us that S sound, right? So that's another rule that we looked at, and, you know, you can learn it. And also, you know, we learned about the hard C and the soft C sound and all of those, right? So make sure you recap that. Disappointingly, right, the prefix this here, D-I-S, is not D-I-double-S, it's just rather D-I-S, right? You double the P rather than you double the S. You have to know which letter there to double. Mistakes, right? So this is a mistake in itself simply because it has two S's, right? Rather, it should only be one S. We know that, you know, when a letter is followed by a vowel, we usually double that letter, right? Comes after the vowel, we double that letter. Not in this case, right? This is one of the exceptions to the rules. And there are many, many exceptions to rules, right? So you just have to know your spelling, guys. And lastly, careful, it's one L, F-U-L, with that suffix, F-U-L rather than F-U-L-L, right? So you have to know your prefixes, your suffixes, your IE rules, your EI rules, your hard C, your soft C. All of that is really important, especially if you're not a good speller, right? And yes, there are many of us, you know, that spelling is one of our weak areas. We are good at mathematics, probably very good at writing as well, but we you know, our weakness lies in spelling. So pay attention to some of these rules. These are some of the ways that you can easily overcome that weakness. So let's move on to task 2. So task 2 is about punctuation and capitalization. Again, in this task here, you have to insert the missing punctuation or the missing capital letter, right? So it's not an error that we're looking for, it's rather the missing punctuation or capital letter. However, you will only be awarded 1 mark per line. So there is 1 error in each line, so you have to be able to identify where you have to insert that punctuation or capital letter. So once again, the lines are open and you have to call us and help us complete this task. Just remember, you are inserting your punctuation mark or your capital letter within the paragraph itself and not to the side, like with our spelling and our grammar task. All right, so let's read this in the meantime. The Ripoll Savanna lies between Arima and Sangre Grande. It's the largest natural savanna in Trinidad. The following animals inhabit there: armadillos, porcupines, and mats. As an environmentally sensitive area, they are also rare and threatened species. So just a reminder, guys, you can read your passage as many times as you like, or that would make it easy for you, okay? Just for the sake of time, we read it once. But when you call us, of course, you have a chance to read it over and analyze. Right? And we have a call on the line. Good evening. Welcome to See Results.
Hello.
Hi, welcome. Who am I speaking with?
Chevelle Brown.
Welcome. So help me with number 7.
It's supposed to have a capital A for Rima
Why is that?
because it's a name of a place.
Name of a place, also known as a proper noun.
No.
Okay. Thank you so much for calling.
You're welcome.
And that is, of course, correct. Let's take another call to help us. Good evening. Welcome to See Results. Hi, caller. Are you there?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Who am I speaking with?
Yes, miss.
What's your name?
Mikhail.
Welcome. So,
What's your name?
for number
Mikhail.
8, what am I looking at there?
Yes, miss.
So, you're helping me with number 8,
It
okay?
has a capital I after Grande.
Great. Why is that?
Because it's the beginning of a sentence.
Great job. Right? That's the answer I'm looking for. Thank you so much for calling.
Thank you, miss.
Great. Let's take another call. Good evening. Welcome to See Results. Hi, good evening.
Hello.
Hi, welcome. Who am I speaking with?
Simran Singh.
Nice. Nice to have you with us. So, number 9. What is my missing punctuation, a capital letter here?
So, after Trinidad, there's supposed to be a full stop.
Full stop, right? Because it's the end of a sentence. Yeah?
Yeah.
As simple as that. Thank you so much for your call.
You're welcome.
Okay, guys, so we're now on to number 10. Good evening. Welcome to See Results. Let's try another call. Okay, and I'm going to hold on there for another call. So we're moving on. Of course, when you are calling, if you would like to read the line for us, right, that's fine. So some of our viewers on our live stream, because they're a couple seconds behind, you know, they will be able to follow along with your correction, right? So let's move on to the next line. The following animals inhabit there: armadillos, porcupines, and, right? And we don't have a call, so I'm going to go ahead and give you the answer here. So the following animals inhabit there. So you will notice here a list is given, right? So we have armadillos, porcupines, and on the following line we have mats. So when you are listing items, we usually use a colon. And we have a call to help us. Good evening. Welcome to See Results. Good evening, caller.
Good evening.
Hi, welcome back. So help me with number 11 or
Yeah.
line 5.
You're putting a comma after area
Why is that?
because they are going to give extra information.
Okay, great job. Thank you so much for your call.
Yeah.
Right, I do have an additional explanation for that, but I will get back to that shortly. Let's take a final call to help us with number 12. Good evening. Welcome to See Results. Hi, good evening, caller.
Hello, good day.
Hi, welcome. Who am I speaking with?
Kelly Spencer.
So, Keely, number 12. What am I missing?
A full stop
A full stop where?
by species.
After species.
Species.
Right? Thank you, Keely. Okay, guys.
Yes.
So let's go through the passage and our punctuation marks and capital letters. Now, of course, if you remember, when we were looking at punctuation, or this section in particular, punctuation and capitalization, we looked at all the common punctuation marks used in the SCA exam specifically for this task, right? Some of the more popular ones, we would see a full stop, a question mark, an exclamation mark, quotation marks, hyphen, commas, of course, and colon, right? So those are the punctuation marks. I don't think I'm forgetting any. Those are the punctuation marks that we focused on, you know, when we were learning about them. And of course, we learned the use of capital letters as well, right? So,
Yes.
of course, Kelly, are you there on the line?
Yes, miss.
Okay, no, I do apologize. I thought you left. I'm just explaining now, okay? Thank you so much for calling. Right, so Kelly answered number 12 there, and we're just wrapping up this task, and now we're just going over the rules here. And I was about to say, of course, you can refer to our previous lessons on punctuation marks for additional help here. Now, in line 1, and of course line 2 as well, we noticed that they were missing capital letters. Now, if you look at the word arima, this is a proper noun, right? We know that proper nouns have to begin with a capital letter. Also, it's the name of a place in this case, right? So it must begin with a capital letter. In line 2, there is a full stop after the word grandee. So therefore, if we are beginning a new sentence, we must use a capital letter. Now, the capital I here, or that pronoun, you have to be mindful, you know, it's not only if it arises at the beginning of a sentence, but also if the letter I comes in the middle of your sentence, when it stands by itself, it also should be in a capital letter, right, or a capital I. Moving on, a full stop should be placed after the word Trinidad as it ends the sentence. Additionally, how do we know that? What is our clue here? The next word after Trinidad starts with a capital T. So that is our indicator that tells us a new sentence has begun, right? So hence the reason we are looking at or using a full stop at the end of this sentence. Of course, if it was a question mark, then we'd have to look for question words at the beginning and so on. To line 4 now, the colon, as I mentioned previously, we use a colon when we are listing items. In this case, we are listing animals, right? So we use a colon. As an environmentally sensitive area, comma, right? Caller said because they are about to give additional information. Also because this is a dependent clause. After dependent clause, a comma should be used, right? And there are many uses of commas, and commas can be overused sometimes, and sometimes they can be underused, right? So this is one of the punctuation marks that you need to focus a bit more attention on, especially if you are weak with using your commas. And lastly, a full stop, because of course it's at the end of a sentence, right? And in this case, we just simply needed a period. Great. So that's the end of punctuation and capitalization, and now we're going to move on to grammar. So this is the final task in section 1, and let's go ahead, guys. So we're going to read it, and then I'm going to take some calls again. My village is quite serene, and everyone are friendlier to each other. However, there are much limitations. The closest hospital is miles away. If one does not have no vehicle, then transport is a problematic, since the bus system only worked at certain times. Now, grammar can be really tricky, not because there are so many rules only, but because, you know, sometimes you are thinking, you know, there's a missing punctuation mark or a capital letter or something is written, you know, not how you would phrase it. Right? But just remember, grammar does not include that. Grammar is something different. Grammar is all about rules, the structure of your sentence, right? The use of your adverbs, your adjectives, your nouns, your pronouns, all of that you need to be mindful of, right? So please don't get distracted and mix up your task. So don't think that, you know, this should have a spelling error or a punctuation error. Remember, you already had or were tested on punctuation and spelling earlier. Right, so grammar is all about rules. So let's look at the first line. My village is quite serene and everyone are. Right, and let's see if we have a call there to help us. Good evening, welcome to See Results. Okay, we lost him. Hi, welcome. Who am I speaking with? Hi, caller.
Hi.
Hi, good evening. You are live on See Results. Who am I speaking with?
Zafira back.
Hi, Zafira. So, Zafira, can you help me with number 13?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Changes to is.
Why is that? What is the rule here?
I just knew.
Okay, all right. No problem, Zafira. Thanks so much for calling.
You're welcome.
Okay, and I will circle back to that rule, of course. That is really important, and we come across it more often than we notice. All right, let's take another call. Good evening. Welcome to See Results. Hi, good evening, caller.
Good evening.
Hi, welcome back. So help me with number 14.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be friendly. It's supposed to be more friendly.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Okay. So everyone is more friendly to each other?
Yeah.
Okay, and if I just said everyone is friendly to each other, is that fine as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so take your time. I want you to read both lines or read that sentence up until the word other and see if it makes sense to you. You can read it aloud if you wish.
My village is quite serene and everyone are friendlier to each other. However, they are.
Right, so of course you can read it with the correction here is, right? So everyone is, and you said your answer is friendly to each other. So friendly alone will work there. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. And I will expand on that a little bit more when we are doing explanations. Thank you so much for calling.
You're welcome.
Right, let's move on to number 15. Good evening, caller. Hi, good evening.
Hello.
Hi, welcome. Who am I speaking with?
Janaya.
Nice to have you with us, Janaya. So help me with number 15. What is the error there? You can read the line. You can go ahead and read the line and give me the correction.
However, there are much limitations.
Right.
The closest hospital is a mile.
Right. And what is the grammatical error?
Limitations.
Okay, explain to me, why is it limitations?
Cause it's just
Can you repeat that, please? Unfortunately, we lost that call, but I am going to give someone else a chance to answer number 15 again. Let's take another call. Good evening. Welcome to See Results. Hi, good evening, caller. Okay. Unfortunately, we lost both calls, but we do have to take a break. It's time for Maghrib. When we come back, we are going to continue with this grammar task. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, guys. Welcome back to C Results. I'm Miss Nyla, and you are rejoining me for English Language Arts today. So just before the break, we completed task 1, which was spelling, and then task 2, punctuation and capitalization. We are now on to grammar, and we are currently on number 15. So we're going to reopen the lines and continue this session, right? So number 15, of course, in grammar, we are looking or reading the line, each line, and you have to identify the grammatical error and then give the correction. So I'm going to hold on a second for a call, and in the meantime, I'm going to read the third line. However, there are much limitations. The closest hospital is miles, right? And we have a caller to help us. Good evening. Welcome to C Results.
Hello.
Hi, welcome. Who am I speaking with?
You're answering.
Nice to have you with us again. So what is the error in number 15 or line 3 there?
There are many limits.
Many?
Limitations.
Excellent. Why is it many and not much?
I just know the word. I forgot the meaning.
All right, okay, great. No problem, that works for me, right? And
Okay.
I will explain that shortly, guys. Don't worry about it. Right, so our previous caller attempted the same question, and however, that person said the error there was limitation should be limitation, right? And I will explain to you why it is what it is as is, right? So let's move on. Good evening, welcome to C Results.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, welcome. Who am I speaking with?
This is Jonathan Sinanan again.
Hi, Jonathan. So number 16.
So, Miss, I could just zoom in, please.
Sure, just give it a second.
you. Instead of no, it should have E.
E. Any other answers that could be potentially correct there?
Any?
Any. That's great, Jonathan. Any specific reason why, or do you know the rule here? Or what is the reasoning behind this?
The reasoning is because when it has two negative words in a line, because it have not over there, it cannot have no, because it will sound like if does not have no vehicle, which means you do have one.
Excellent job, Jonathan. Right?
Thank you, Miss.
You're welcome. Right, guys? So number 17. Good evening. Welcome to C Results. Let's try again. Okay. So I'm moving on with number 17 until we get another call there. Then, transport is a problematic since the bus. Right? Now, here you should read your lines very carefully. Sometimes when you read your lines or read a passage all at once, you know, it's easy for you to read with the correction while you are reading, right? And sometimes you don't see the error at once, but when you look at it with a fine-teeth comb, right, and you look at each word in the line or you read it sentence by sentence, that helps you to understand or to spot the error much easier. Then the transport is a problematic since the bus. And great, we have a call to help us with this one. Good evening. Welcome to C Results. Good evening, caller.
Hello.
Hi, welcome.
Number 17 until we get...
Okay, we lost that call. Let's take another one. Good evening. Welcome to C Results. Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and answer this one. So the error here is problematic. So if you had problematic as your error, then you are correct. Right, so problematic here should actually be problem. Then the transport is a problem since the bus system only worked at certain times. So your error in this last line, is worked, and it should in fact be works. Right, so I'm just going to take a pause on the calls, and we are going to go through this grammar task together. My village is quite serene and everyone is. Now, when we were looking at subject-verb agreements, we looked at approximately 17 different rules that you should know, when it comes to subject-verb agreements. So, for instance, the word everyone there is singular in meaning. Therefore, it is followed by a singular verb, right? So, it's not everyone are, but everyone is. Moving on to the next line. My village is quite serene and everyone is friendly to each other, right? So it's not friendlier because we know the positive, the comparative, and the superlative form, when we are talking about adjectives and, comparing nouns and all of that, right? So you should know everyone is friendly. So we're using the base form or the positive form of the word. So it's friendly, friendlier, friendliest. And you should also know that we are not making a comparison. We are not comparing two nouns. So if we were comparing two nouns, we would use the superlative form, right? The comparative form, sorry. And if we were comparing 3 or more nouns, then we will use the superlative form. So here we are not comparing any nouns, right? So therefore, we continue to use the positive form. So everyone is friendly to each other. And you would also notice that I am reading this task sentence by sentence, right? That's a trick, something that you can follow, something that will help you to understand or to see your errors easily when you read the entire sentence, right? You can actually put in your corrections and fit them in while you are doing the task. It makes it easier. However, there are much limitations. The closest hospital is miles. So there are many limitations. Now, it's not limitation here. First reason being, we know that's plural, right? The subject here says, however, there are, which tells us there is something, there is actually, or there are more than one, so it's plural form, right? So hence the noun here, limitations. But much, the word much here goes with uncountable nouns, right? Hence the word limitation. So we use many for countable nouns. So this rule comes with countable and uncountable nouns. Now, I don't know how many of you have come across this rule, but we definitely did and looked at this rule in depth when we were learning about, errors or errors in the grammar section, right? So you can go back, look at our videos on our YouTube channel. And I'm saying YouTube because it's easy for you to find the videos there because they are labeled very nicely. So look for countable and uncountable nouns. Similarly, you can look for subject-verb agreement rules. Now, you will not find just one video on subject-verb agreement. Let me just tell you guys, there may be about 4 or 5 different videos for that, right? So in order to cover all the rules necessary. Moving on, if one does not have no vehicle, then transport is a problematic. Right, so Jonathan nicely explained this line for us, or this error, saying that we should not have double negatives in a sentence, right? So we have not and no. So we're going to replace no with a or any. Any of those answers will be fine. Then transport is a problematic since the bus, right? So it's not the adjective problematic, but the noun problem. And even if you read this line, it's not going to sound correct to you. You're going to know something is off there, all right? So it doesn't sound grammatically correct. And that's going to help you to identify your error and, of course, your correction. Since the bus system only works at certain times, right? So this is a present tense. Since the bus system only works, right? So we're using the present tense form of this word, work, or verb here, adding S to the end, right? So again, guys, grammar can be very tricky. Sometimes this is where we lose our marks, right? It's easy for us to lose our marks. Sometimes we do get the marks here for identifying the error, but then we do not know what the correction is, simply because we are not revising all the different grammar rules. And I cannot stress how many there are, right? So you need to put in the extra effort here to learn all of these. Of course, it's going to not only award you your 12 marks for the session, or section, but it's going to, get you through your ELA creative writing. So that punctuation, that grammar section, all of that, you're going to earn maximum marks. It's going to make your writing better and improve the quality of your work. Good. So we have come to the end of section 1, and now we are going to be moving on to comprehension, right? So comprehension can be fiction or non-fiction. Right, we are doing a non-fiction passage today. The importance of coral reefs. So we're going to read the passage together, and then I'm going to open the lines as I usually do to answer the questions. People often think of corals as plants because they remain in one place throughout their lives. However, these amazing creatures are in fact animals. They are filter feeders, meaning that they consume tiny particles floating in the water. This cleans the water, making it clearer and improving the quality. Coral reefs are areas in the ocean where a range of corals live. In the Caribbean, coral reefs can be found along the coasts of Tobago, Cuba, Hispaniola, and Jamaica. They are quite beautiful and look like underwater cities. These areas support a wide range of life. In fact, more than 25% of marine life inhabit coral reefs. It is no wonder they are called the rainforests of the sea. These rainforests of the sea are essential for the continuation of life. Fishermen, and therefore us, the consumers, depend on coral reefs. Fish spawn there and the young ones inhabit the area, feeding on algae until they are old enough to swim to open waters. In turn, larger fish that are predators such as tuna, groupers, and barracudas feed on the small fish there to survive. Other animals such as lobsters, octopuses, sea turtles, shellfish, and dolphins also depend on the coral reefs for various reasons such as food, shelter, and protection from predators. Another use of coral reefs is to reduce the strength of waves and to protect the shoreline from storms. They protect houses and other buildings that are built close to the shore from being damaged by coastal erosion. In 50 years, the coral reefs in the region have decreased by 80%. The main reason seems to be coral disease caused by human activities such as pollution, bad water quality, and coastal development. Caribbean nations therefore have put regulations to protect these areas known as Marine Protected Areas, MPAS for short. Right? And if you look to the bottom of this paragraph here, this picture, you will see coral reefs or coral reefs, sorry. So you're seeing corals here, but pay attention to this part of the image, right? There is a bottle, a plastic bottle thrown there, right? So of course, you know, if a picture is associated with your comprehension passage or your poem or even your graphic, we know that it is there for a reason. So you should pay close attention to it, okay? Don't bypass it. So let's go to the first question from this comprehension passage. Why do people think of corals as plants? So we're going to open the lines for you, and you know, you're going to call us and help us. And we have a call on the line. Good evening. Welcome to See Results. Hi, good evening, caller. Okay, and we lost that call there. So just remember, I do not expect you to remember the passage, you know, from just reading it once with me, but I will be putting, you know, I will put the paragraph necessary for the answering the question there, right, or the relevant part of the passage for you. So, you know, that will help you answer the questions. Why do people think of corals as plants? Right, of course, you have to read through that part of the paragraph there that tells about that question and then answer it. So let's take this call to help us. Good evening. Welcome to See Results.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, good evening. Welcome. Who am I speaking with?
Hello?
Hi, good evening. Who am I speaking with?
Kelly Spencer.
Hi, Kelly. So did you read the question?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to go to that part of the passage for you, okay?
Okay.
Okay, and tell me when you're ready to answer. If you would like to
I'm
read out the passage, that's also fine, okay, with that part of the paragraph.
Sorry, I think I already answered.
Okay, go ahead.
People often think of corals as plants because they remain in one place throughout their lives.
Okay, great job, Kaylee. Thank you so much for calling. Right, so that answer is pretty straightforward. It's directly in the passage, the very first line, right? So you don't have to think too much about it. People think that corals are plants because corals stay in one place for their entire lives, right? Similar to plants. Why are coral reefs called the rainforests of the sea? Consider the similarities between rainforests and coral reefs. So this question here requires that you have a little bit of knowledge about rainforest. And you should, right? Not only from the many passages that you have completed, but from your social studies and your science lessons as well, right? Let's take this call. Good evening. Welcome to See Results. Hi, good evening, caller.
Hello,
Hi, welcome. Who am I speaking with?
Suran Singh.
Okay, welcome back. So, did you read the question?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and are you ready for me to go on to the passage?
Yes.
Okay. And I highlighted there for you the keywords of the question. So it's easy for you to locate.
Can you go back to the question?
Sure. Why are coral reefs called the rainforests of the sea? So that's the main part of the question there.
Okay. You can go back to the passage.
Yes.
They are essential for the continuation of life.
Yes, that's partly correct. Anything else?
Fishermen and consumers.
Yes.
You can go back to the passage.
Yes, I do apologize. It's there now.
Fishermen and consumers depend on coral reefs. Fish spawn there and the young ones inhabit the area, feeding on algae until they are old enough to swim.
Okay, great attempt, but I'm just going to tell you that this question here requires a little bit of outside thinking or thinking outside the box, right? So not the entire answer is in the passage itself. So I'm going to share my answer with you, okay?
Okay.
Okay, but thank you so much for calling, right? So coral reefs are called the rainforests of the sea because they are dense, right? Like rainforests with a large number of corals in one area. So you'll notice that corals are closely packed together, just as trees in the forest or rainforest, right? There are many, many trees there. Additionally, coral reefs and rainforests both support a variety of species. So that part of your answer would have been correct, but the beginning part here where they're saying that coral reefs are also called the rainforests of the sea because they are dense like rainforests, right? But this is the important part here, with a large number of corals in one area. Right, so this question, a little tricky, but with a little thought, you will figure it out. In your own words, explain the term filter feeders. What is one way that they are important for the ocean? Right, I'm just going to go back here for 1 second, and I want to mention, if you don't have this exact answer, of course, that is fine. Answers will vary. So it all depends, you know, when your examiner or the person correcting your paper reads your answer. And once that answer is, you know, closest to the answer that they are looking for, you will be awarded your marks. So you don't need to worry about it too much, okay? So again, in your own words, explain the term filter feeders. What is one way they are important for the ocean? All right, and we have a caller on the line. Good evening. Welcome to See Results. Hi, good evening, caller.
Hi,
Hi, welcome. Who am I speaking with?
Cara.
Nice to have you with us. So did you read this question?
In your own words, explain the term filter feeders.
Right. And the second part will be, what is one way they are important for the ocean? Right, so I'm going to go to the passage here, and I highlighted the term filter feeders for you, so it's easy for you to find, and then to come up with your answer.
Can you hold 1 second?
Sure.
The live is a few seconds behind.
Yeah, that's fine.
They are filter feeders because they consume tiny particles floating in the water.
Right, so I'm just going to go back to the question in your own words. So you have to give me in your own words, okay? Explain the term filter feeders. Right, and then tell me why they are important.
Filter feeders are animals that can eat tiny particles that are in the water.
Great, and why is it important, or why are they important to the ocean?
They're important to the ocean because they help clean the water so it is clearer for the animals.
Right, and improves the
Quality.
excellent job. Thank you so much for your call.
You're welcome.
So filter feeders are animals that feed on tiny particles floating in the water. They are important as they help clean the ocean's water right? So it's as simple as that, or you could go on to explain, just as I said, as they improve the quality of the water and so on. Now, these types of questions are a bit simpler. You simply have to read what is given to you in the passage, and then you just have to make up your own definition. But all the information is given to you, right? So that's a nice way to earn 3 marks. Write a word in the first paragraph that means the same as ingest. All right, let's take a call to help us. Good evening. Welcome to See Results. Hi, good evening, caller. Good evening. Welcome to See Results.
Hello?
Hi, welcome. Who am I speaking with?
Jaden.
Hi, Jaden. Welcome back. So write a word in the first paragraph that means the same as ingest. Do you know the meaning of the word ingest?
Like to consume something?
Great. So let's see if you can give me a synonym here in paragraph 1. Well, you did give us the correct consume. Excellent job. Thank you so much for your call. Right? So as long as you know the meaning of the word ingest, and of course you can think about it in a sentence, right? You may have heard it somewhere, right? Think about as how you know it, how you would use it in everyday talking. Maybe it's not a word that you will use every day, but you would come across it, right? And look for the closest word in meaning to that. And let's take one final question before we close off for today. Using information from the passage, explain how coral reefs protect buildings near the shoreline. All right, let's take a call to help us. Good evening. Welcome to See Results.
Hello?
Hi, welcome. Who am I speaking with? Who am I speaking with?
Roshan Basant.
Nice to have you with us. So did you get a chance to read the question, or would you like to read it?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Write a word in the first paragraph that means the same as ingest.
Okay, so that's actually not the question that we are on. We just completed that question, so I'm going to give you a few seconds, and you will see number 23 coming up, okay?
Yes.
Let me know when you are ready. Are you seeing the question as yet?
Yes.
Okay, so go ahead and read the question for me, and then I'll turn to the passage for you.
Using the information from the passage, explain how coral reefs protect buildings near the shoreline.
Okay, great.
Could you turn to the paragraph?
Yes.
Colonel,
Yes.
line.
Yeah, take your time. That's fine. Can you see the passage now?
No, it's the only question.
Okay.
I'm not seeing it.
Okay. Go ahead and read it through and let me know when you have your answer.
Yes, Anna.
Reduce the strength of waves to protect the shoreline from storms.
Coral reefs reduce the strength of the waves and to protect the shoreline from storm.
Great. Right, so the question was, using information from the passage, explain how coral reefs protect buildings near the shoreline, and the answer is there for you. You just have to read. Thank you so much for your call.
You're welcome.
Right, so coral reefs protect buildings near the shoreline by making waves weaker as they approach the shoreline, which in turn decreases coastal erosion. Right, so that was a part of the answer as well. Okay, guys, so I'm going to stop there for now. Tomorrow we do have English language arts again and creative writing. So we will continue the rest of this paper. It has been my pleasure being in your company, guys. I do look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening.